Also making wild promises like one at last night's rally. President Trump put the chairman of the House's Tax Writing Committee on the spot, promising Congress will, quote, put in a 10% income tax cut sometime next week after White House reporters questioned him about it on his way to Houston yesterday.
You said that you wanted tax cuts by November 1st. Congress isn't even in session.
No, we're going to be passing. No. We're putting in a resolution sometime in the next week or a week and a half, 2 weeks.
A resolution where?
We're going to put in, we're giving a middle income tax reduction of about 10%. We're doing it now for middle income people. This is not for business. This is for middle. That's on top of the tax decrease that we've already got.
Are you signing an executive order for that?
No. I'm going through Congress.
Congress is in session,
we won't have time to do the vote.
Congress is out.
We'll do the vote after the election. Ted is leading the charge in Congress for more tax cuts. In fact, I just left Kevin Brady. By the way, how good is Kevin Brady? He's around here. He's here. We're going to be putting in a 10% tax cut for middle-income families. It's going to be put in next week. 10% tax cut. Kevin Brady is working on it. We've been working on it for a few months. This is for middle-income people, all middle-income people, a big tax cut, 10%. We'll be putting it in next week. Now, if the Democrats take over, I can't speak. I'm sorry. Kevin, we're putting in next week the 10% reduction in middle-income taxes, right? Next week. Okay. He promised in front of 22,000 people. I don't need that. He promised to me. That's good.
So he says next week, a 10% tax cut for the middle class.
Why is Kevin...
Next week, yes.
Willie, they're not in session.
That's an important point, Joe.
He might as well promise next week, Willie, that he's going to build a rocket ship to Mars made out of caramel, chocolate, and candy cane dust. And poor Kevin Brady, he's sitting there going, please, don't do this to me. Just, please, Jesus, tell him to stop pointing at me. I mean, Kevin Brady's put in this horrible position to lie in front of 22,000 people. You can't even draft a bill like that in a week, Willie.
It's an important, what you said. Congress is not in session. Congress is not in session. There will be no bill passed. President Trump mentioned the tax cut, by the way, for the first time on Saturday. Some Republican leaders have expressed skepticism on how to pay for it, given this year's 17% increase in the deficit. And Jackie, I would remind our viewers that Republicans passed a massive tax cut 10 months ago in December, where they could have included a middle class tax cut. And now President Trump is floating the idea implausibly 2 weeks before the election.
Yeah, and I just want to, get back to this whiff of desperation, though, really quickly that you all were talking about, and just explicitly connect the dots here, which is that I think what we're sensing is that the president realizes that if he loses single-party control on the Hill, he is facing impeachment, a slew of potential investigations from House oversight, along with, just the a total upheaval of all of the policies he's implemented. And so this rhetoric that we're seeing, these ideas that he's sort of pulling out of thin air, a 10% middle-class tax cut, that's all that it shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone, because I think what also the president realizes is that, he is a creature of habit, and he understands that what put him over the edge in 2016 was this difference and amplified rhetoric in immigration and really got the base on his side.
Yeah, appeals to racism, used it before, he's using it now. And Jackie brings up a fantastic point, Gene. We're sitting here wondering, wait, why is this guy freaking out so much when things have kind of been breaking the Republicans' way over the past week? So Jackie just said it. If Democrats win the House by 1 seat, they've got subpoena power.
Yeah,
they can look. They can subpoena. They can get his tax records. They can look at all of his dealings with Russia. They can look at all of his financial dealings with Saudi Arabia. They can understand why the rest of the world is shunning Saudi Arabia, but Donald Trump is hugging a murderer with a bloody saw in his hand. They can, all of these things that don't, Helsinki, all these things that don't make so much sense to us right now. Well, if the Democrats win the House by one seat,
just one,
we're going to know everything.
We're going to know a whole lot, Joe, and obviously he's panicked about that. What all this suggests to me is that there is internal polling, maybe White House polling, that suggests that things haven't been breaking all that well for Republicans in the last couple of weeks. That it's not as rosy a picture as they have been painting publicly, and that in fact, they're panicked that it's going to go this way. Now, I'm going to be really brief because I know we're planning to go to our correspondent who's covering the California riots. Is that right? Who do we have covering those California riots?
Hold on 1 second. Yes, hold on. Willie, you've been talking all night to the correspondent who has been covering the California riots, Willie. Oh, wait. No, they're covering the Dodgers-Red Sox opener tonight in Boston.
That must be it.
There are no riots, I don't think.
They may be rioting if Chris Sale pitches the way Barnacle says he's going to pitch, but certainly no riots about the sanctuary cities, as the president said.
No, not at all. And, Mika, we've said this. We said this after Kavanaugh. Democrats depressed for good reason because, my God, the party did such a horrible job during the Kavanaugh hearings, especially at the end. There was a dip down in the polls. But, you start looking at polls coming out of West Virginia where Joe Manchin's just tearing it up. We're going to show these polls in a little bit. Another poll out of Florida showing that Bill Nelson is over 50%. That's really significant. Things are starting to break back Democrats' way. And, well, it's freaking Donald Trump out.
Well, and they're not covering the riots. They're covering the big lie served up with little lies, medium-sized lies, all sorts of lies. We live in a time when our fellow citizens have all-time low levels of trust in our institutions, including the government. Most politicians lie from time to time, I think it's fair to say, but Donald Trump is different, and we need to put this into perspective. He likes to sell himself as world-class at everything. Well, this is one area where he is world-class. We have never seen anything quite like this in American history. A president who seems to prefer to lie when the truth would be just fine. But most dangerously, he lies to hurt people. He lies to deceive voters into becoming enraged over a world of make-believe. There are no riots or massive illegal immigrant voting in California, no Democratic organizers of the Honduran caravan. There is no evidence that Middle Easterners are hiding inside that caravan. There's no evidence that Trump is committed to protecting health insurance for coverage for pre-existing conditions, and no tax relief coming soon for a middle-class family. All lies. Real-world lies that Trump freely repeats over and over again on Twitter, at rallies, and right to the face of professional journalists who know they are lies and call him on them. We could spend our 3 hours with you every day running through his various falsehoods, his crowd sizes, the number of judges he's appointed, Brett Kavanaugh's academic credentials. I could go on and on and on.
But wait, but Mika, he says that he's appointed more federal judges than everybody since George Washington.
He has not. And there's something wrong.
How about everybody since Bill Clinton? No, not even that.
No. There's something truly wrong with a leader who lies so much about everything. But the lies about public policy, the lies meant to divide our country, to hurt specific people or groups of people, those lies should disgust other elected Republicans. Where are you? And they create a reality that everyone who votes for a Trump-backed Republican in this election needs to own. They need to understand what they're voting for. Lies. Still ahead on Morning Joe, Turkey's president just laid out the case that Saudi Arabia planned in advance the murder of Washington Post columnist Jamal Khashoggi. What he told Parliament this morning and how it's impacting international relations from Washington to Riyadh. You are watching Morning Joe. We'll be right back.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.